So I have the great pleasure to talk to you all about media optimization, which is part of the Hyvä Commerce suite. Yeah, and the first question is really why optimize? Because it adds quite a bit of complexity. Optimizing images isn't actually super easy because optimized implies that it needs to be pretty specific. You can't just slap it on there and it works every single time. So for that complexity, it should be worth it, right? So I'm going to try and explain to you what the media optimization module does and why it's worth the complexity that it brings. And of course, we try to keep as much of the complexity away from you and solve it for you. So there's a lot of Magento veterans here, so I'm sure almost everybody here has a story of finding out that somebody at a merchant uploaded the full digital raw image as like a site-wide banner, and then you get questions of why is everything loading so slow? And that really shouldn't be possible, right, in a modern e-commerce system. You should just be able to upload your image, and it should figure out what image to send to the browser. So the solution is we build a media optimization module. And yeah, we want to make those images smaller, use modern formats, and use the correct sizes. To do this, we use multiple libraries. And the hard part is also there. It's the compatibility. It's both on the browser side and it's on the server side. It's what libraries do you have to actually convert images into these new formats, and what do browsers actually support, and how do you make sure that you don't send stuff to the browser that the browser doesn't understand? Because then you have no image, maybe, which is less than ideal. So making it work. So to make it work, we made a framework that's quite flexible. You can extend on it. If you have a favorite image library and we don't support it, you can make your own image optimization engine. Yeah. So on the browser side, we have the picture tag. That solves a lot of these issues. It makes sure that the browser actually ends up choosing the image that is best for it, instead of us trying to predict what the browser wants. So here you can see that depending on the size of the page, it might even load a different image. Not just a resized version, but an actually completely different image, maybe even with different width, different height. And we want to make sure that it has a fallback. Nowadays, almost everything supports picture tag, but it will also have the image tag in there. So if it doesn't recognize what a picture tag is, it will just ignore it and load the old image. And then on the other side, we have the platforms, so your hosting environment. This is actually the most complex part, because there's so many different versions of image libraries, and definitely not every one of them gets updated regularly. So it's hard to make sure that it actually supports the features that you want. So, for example, WebP or AVIF. For this, we've created both a CLI tool, and in the backend, you will just get this system check. And it will go through everything that is supposed to be supported. And it doesn't just go by version number. It will actually create images in the background, convert them, and then double check. Because when building this, we discovered that GD, for example, will happily tell you that it supports AVIF. And then you ask it to convert to AVIF, and it's like, nah, sorry, can't do that. So this is the way we tackle that. And yeah, more importantly for you maybe, how to use it. So there's two ways to use it. Out of the box, it will come enabled with automatic replacement. So it will replace any image tag with an optimized version. You can choose how it gets replaced. So there's simple replacement and there's a picture tag replacement. When you choose the picture tag replacement, it will actually change the HTML structure because it will add the picture tag, which might break some stuff. So it might break your JavaScript or your CSS if it really depends on your HTML being very specific. So if you run into that, you might want to switch back to simple replace, which will just choose whatever image type you select. It's not pictured here, but trust me, you can do it. And yeah, it will just create one optimized converted image to show. Cool. It even does this, by the way, for CSS. So it does it for like background images and stuff. And then the other way to use it is through the API. This is a little bit more specific, but it gives you lots of tools to make it work the way you want. So you basically specify there's a very limited set. You can actually change pretty much anything you want that's relevant to the image, so any attribute. And you can yeah, specify which images you want to display, what media queries they depend on, and if they need, or like if it's the fallback image, so the image that will end up in that image tag within the picture tag. More of this is in the docs if you want to know how things work exactly. And then this is coming soon. It's defining all those sizes through XML. So you might already know the view XML, where this is already done for product images. This is a little bit more flexible. You can define this also within your custom modules, for example. And with this XML, we also know a lot more about these images, right? We know what sizes they should be. So predictively, we can pre-generate these. So we can take the XML, see where those images are that need to be certain sizes, and generate them before. Because right now, if it's whether you're using the API or whether you're using the automatic replace, it will do it on the fly. And it's pretty fast, but you definitely don't want to do that for like 90 images on a gallery page or something. So this helps. So what about performance? What about this loading while the page is loading? Well, that's another thing we're working on. It's post-hoc processing. So basically, instead of generating the images as soon as they get requested, they are sent to a queue. The queue processes them, and then the next time people come along to the page, it will actually load those images without any real performance hit. Whether you want to use this really depends on your use case, what kind of store you have. You might not want to pre-generate, you know, like if you sell like 1 million bolts and they all look the same, you might not want to pre-generate everything. You might just want it on the fly. But if you do like, if you're like a fashion merchant and you do drops of clothing and everybody comes in one wave and everybody adds new stuff to the queue instead of actually receiving those images, yeah, in that case, you might want to look more into pre-generating. So, yeah, I've been flying through this. Key takeaways, if you're installing it, run the platform check. It solves a lot of headaches. It also gives you lots of information to talk to your hoster about on what they need to change, perhaps. Use the API where possible or where you need that extra flexibility. And then hopefully watch your CDN bill drop, because yeah, it can save you loads and loads of data that needs to be transferred. Does anybody have any questions? Because I think we have some time for questions. No? All right. Well, come find me after and ask questions then.